Sometimes the biggest changes come from the smallest tweaks. We're going to look at one of those today, a seemingly tiny adjustment in the world of corporate auditing that has, no joke, created a massive ripple effect. And the result, a huge leap forward for transparency. Okay, let's get into it.
It's the big question, isn't it? For anyone thinking of investing or even just working for a company. You see the cool products, you read the exciting press releases, but how can you be sure the business is actually built to last? Well, auditors have been trying to answer that for decades, but a new rule change just put their answer right up front, in bright, flashing lights.
And the key concept behind all of this is something called going concern. Seriously, think of it like the ultimate corporate health check. It's the basic idea, the assumption, that a business is stable enough to keep the lights on for the next year and beyond. And this isn't just jargon. It's the bedrock that the entire set of financial statements is built on.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into that core idea of going concern. Then, we'll look at the new rulebook that kicked this whole thing off. After that, we'll trace the massive ripple effect it created, see how it actually changes the final audit report, and wrap up with why this super technical change really truly matters to you.
So here's the bottom line. When you pick up a company's financial report, you're making an assumption. You're assuming it's a going concern. You're assuming it'll be around to pay its bills, honor its contracts, and just keep going. But if that assumption is shaky, well, the entire financial picture changes, and fast.
So, the stone that got dropped into this quiet pond was the 2024 update to something called International Standard on Auditing 570, or ISA 570 for short. This is the specific rule that tells auditors exactly how to check and report on a company's ability to stay in business. But what almost nobody outside the industry saw coming were the consequences of changing this one single rule.
And this is where that ripple effect really kicks in. See, because this going concern idea is so fundamental, so central, updating the main rule for it meant that tons of other connected rules also had to be updated to match. They call these conforming amendments, and they basically make sure the whole system is singing from the same hymn sheet.
So let's follow this because this is where you start to see just how big of a deal this is. The idea of checking a company's long-term health is no longer just one little step in an audit. It's now woven into the very fabric of the entire process, from start to finish. Now just look at this list for a second. This isn't just one or two things. We're talking about the rules for literally everything, from the first contract an auditor signs to how they assess risk, how they communicate, all the way to the final report. That core idea of going concern is now hardwired into every single one of these standards. It's impossible to miss it at any stage.
So, what's this actually look like in practice? Well, from the very first document, the engagement letter, the auditor's duty to check on the company's survival is spelled out right there. Then, during planning, finding potential risks to the company's future becomes a top priority. And this is huge. Any conclusion about going concern is now officially a significant judgment, which means it has to get a second look from the most senior partners. And finally, it all leads to the one report everybody gets to see.
And that brings us to the most visible part of this whole thing, the final audit report. This is the document that you, me, investors, everyone actually reads, and its whole layout has been changed to be way, way clearer.
The difference here is pretty much night and day. Before, an auditor's thoughts on a company's health might be buried somewhere deep inside another section. You kind of had to hunt for it. But now, no way. The new rules say there must be a separate, standalone section with a big, bold heading you can't miss, going concern.
Honestly, this is a total game changer for transparency. No more reading between the lines. No more trying to figure out what they really mean. The auditor's final call on the company's basic financial health is right there, in black and white, for everybody to see instantly. Now there's a really important piece of fine print here. The new reports have this specific wording, to be crystal clear about what an audit is and what it isn't. An auditor can't predict the future. Their conclusion is based only on the evidence they have at that one moment in time. Think of it as a professional judgment, not a crystal ball.
Okay, so we've been deep in the technical details. Let's pull way back and connect this to the real world. Why should you, as an investor, an employee, or just someone who's curious, actually care about this change?
Because this change has real benefits for real people. If you're an investor, it's basically a powerful red flag system front and center. If you're an employee, it gives you a much better idea of your company's stability and your job security. For banks, it just makes assessing risk that much more straightforward. And for everyone, it's a huge step towards making companies more accountable.
And that's really the whole story. What started as an update to one single obscure standard has created this incredible ripple effect.
It takes one of the most important questions in business. Is this company actually built to last? And puts the answer right where nobody can possibly miss it.
So it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? Now that this corporate health check is so obvious and so clear, will it actually change how people behave? Will we see more cautious investing? Will employees start asking tougher questions? Will companies manage themselves more responsibly? Only time is going to tell.